you've just clicked on this video and you have no idea who I am, one, hi, I'm Georgia. I read mostly gay books on this channel. I talk about mostly gay books. And two, is that me and BOOKTOK generally do not get along. Me and BOOKTOK, we don't see eye to eye. I don't know why, I don't know what it is, but very rarely do I enjoy a book that does really well on BOOKTOK. Not never, there are some books I enjoy. Most of the time, I just don't get it. I just don't. So I thought it'd be funny, entertaining, hopefully, for me to do a tier ranking of every single BOOKTOK book I've ever read. Let you guys know what books I think are actually worth reading and which books need to be burned in a bonfire. It goes without saying, but I am going to say it anyway, that if I don't like a book that you really enjoyed, I don't care that you enjoyed it. I mean, like, not in a horrible way. I don't mind that you enjoyed it. You do you, boo. You read whatever books you want to read. Reading is so subjective. It's so personal. You read what makes you happy. I will read what makes me happy, but obviously for my job here on the internet, where my job is to read books and read lots of popular books, I read a lot of books I don't necessarily think I would enjoy, and maybe sometimes I do enjoy them, sometimes I really don't. And I'm not judging you. You read whatever you want to read as long as it makes you happy. I'm happy for you. Also, you know what I found really hard? Trying to like figure out which books count as BOOKTOK books. There's not just like a list somewhere on the internet which is like, here is the exact list of all books which count as BOOKTOK books. So I've kind of just gone on the internet, I've gone on TikTok, seen which books are spoken about again and again, and I've just compiled those into a list. That's definitely enough rambling from me. Let's get this screen recording started and let's start judging some books, which is what I do best. Right, okay, here we go. Here are the tiers that I've chosen for this. Number 1, main character energy. Top tier, the best, self-explanatory. Tier 2, toxic, but I liked it. I feel like a lot of BOOKTOK can fall into this category where it's not necessarily good writing or a particularly good book, but there's something about it, you still really enjoy it. Tier 3 is reads like Wattpad, which I don't think is necessarily a criticism. The fanfic on Wattpad can either be incredible or it can be shitty. It's mid, okay? It's mid. Tier 4, only finished because I hate quitting. I hate DNFing books. Once I've started, I'm going to fight through. And these are the books like I probably should have put down, but because I'm stubborn, I didn't. And the 5th tier, the bottom tier, red flag in book form, very self-explanatory. I did not enjoy these books. They probably need to be burnt in a fire somewhere. And we're going to start with The Spanish Love Deception by Elena Armas. I actually think I read this my first ever lesbian read straight romance books video, and I remember not loving it. I remember not hating it, but I was kind of just a bit like, I don't really care for either of these characters. I don't care for their story. I don't like it, but it also wasn't very painful. So this would probably go somewhere between like only finished because I hate quitting and reads like Wattpad. But I'm going to put it in only finished because I hate quitting, because I do remember being so bored and being like, I have to finish this for this video, but I wish I didn't. The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. Listen, I read a lot of psychological thriller books. It is probably my second most read genre after just queer romance generally. And The Housemaid, it wasn't necessarily the best written thriller I've ever read. It was quite predictable. It very much followed the standard thriller formula. Could I put this book down? Absolutely not. I'm going to put this in toxic, but I liked it. It was like objectively not the best writing ever. I was hooked beginning to end. I could not put it down. I really want to read the second one in the series, but I have heard it's not as good. Let me know. Is it worth reading? Like, should I finish the series or should I just leave it with The Housemaid? Some books I feel like don't necessarily need sequels. I feel like it tied itself up in a nice neat little bow. I quite liked it. Normal People by Sally Rooney. This is probably one of my most controversial BOOKTOK opinions, but I did not like Normal People. I found it so boring. But hear me out. I read this, like 3-4 years ago now, and in the last 3-4 years, my taste in books has really, really changed, and I do suspect that if I reread Normal People now, I'd probably understand it on a much more cellular level. I think I'd probably like it a lot more. So when I first read it, I probably would put it in only finished because I hate quitting. I just found it really boring. I found Connell and Marianne just so moany, and like all of their problems could have been fixed with just standard communication. Like if they just spoke to each other even once, they could have fixed like years worth of trauma. But I feel like if I reread it now, I'd probably see it slightly differently. I'm going to put it in reads like Wattpad because I'm being generous. Okay, I'm being generous there. Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover. This is straight up red flag in book form. I thought this book was straight up abusive. Colleen Hoover has such a way of writing abusive men but making it seem romantic, and it really, really bothers me. I've had this same rant so many times on this channel, but I think it is so, so incredibly dangerous to make out that abuse is romance or akin to romance, because there's young people reading this, like vulnerable people reading these books, and they are seeing that and thinking like, oh, my boyfriend treats me the same way, but Colleen Hoover says it's romantic, so it's okay. And like these books, they're like they're like mass produced, they're very cheap, they're easy for people in sort of like difficult situations to get their hands on and read, and it really bothers me. It really, really bothers me that she writes abuse as romance. Ugly Love was so concerning. Not as concerning, however. Tell you what, should we just get the Colleen Hoover out of the way? We're just going to get the Colleen Hoover slander out of the way, done with. November 9, straight up abuse. This book, like not even a question about it, just abuse. And the fact that people don't see it as abuse is insane to me. I was waiting for the twist in this book to be that Fallon and Ben are the main characters, the romantic leads in this book. I was waiting for Fallon to realise that Ben is actually abusive. I thought that was going to be the twist in this book. Genuinely, I was reading this whole book waiting for Fallon to like realise that all of this is abuse. And when that didn't happen and it got to the end of the book and Fallon ends up apologising to Ben, I was gobsmacked. I was mind blown. Like, what? What? Anyway, if you want to hear my entire thoughts on that book, I'll link that video down below, because Jesus Christ. We also have It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. When I first read this book, I really, really shockingly enjoyed it. I know. But I first read it about 5 years ago. It was only after that point that I really started to dive into like deeper analysis of books. I started to watch a lot more videos, started to learn a lot more about writing and about storytelling, and especially with all of the drama around the movie, I've really like dived into why this book is so concerning. And because I did enjoy it at the time, I thought it was an easy read. And I feel like it has some decent messaging in it. I'm not going to put it in red flag. I'm going to put it in only finished because I hate quitting. But actually, I did finish it quite easily. But just like if we're talking about the tier system, it's not the bottom tier, but it's definitely not any higher than that. It can go there. Twisted Love by Anna Huang, another book where abuse is romanticised. You're going to see a theme here in that I hate abuse being romanticised. I think it is so deeply, deeply worrying when people see that as the message that's being put across. Again, I'll tell you what, I'll leave some videos linked down below where I just like talk about these books and my thoughts and feelings in depth. Twisted Love was again so deeply concerning. He stalks her. The man, I can't remember the names, the man literally stalks the main character in this, and she thinks it's romantic. She thinks it's very romantic and ends up getting back together with him after he stalks her in a different country for a whole year. He waits outside of her flat every morning and waits outside of her school every afternoon and follows her everywhere she goes. You and Me on Vacation by Emily Henry. I'm going to put this in reads like Wattpad. I quite famously do not get along with Emily Henry's writing. I don't think her stories are necessarily concerning. I don't think they're abusive. I just don't gel with her writing, which I think is very valid and very okay. But I read this book, I thought it was fine. There's a very concerning thread through this where the two main characters constantly refer to each other as brother and sister, whilst the author is telling you as the reader that they're like in love with each other and meant to be together, and that just gave me the intense ick. But Generally, I didn't hate You and Me on Vacation, so that can go in reads like Wattpad. Abby Jimenez, Just for the Summer though, I love this book. I really, really like this book. I love the depiction of mental illness. I really enjoyed the main characters and how they communicate and how they like sort of take time apart to improve themselves and get better before they sort of go into a relationship together. This can go in toxic, but I liked it, except it wasn't toxic. It was actually very healthy. But again, that's just the titles of the tiers, okay? It's second tier. Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. We all know where this is going. The first, and maybe only, no, not the only, but the first sapphic book of this video, and probably the book that made me fall back in love with reading a good like 6-7 years ago. She's main character energy. I love her. I love this book. I know there are some criticisms of it. I'm not blind to the criticisms of Seven Husbands. Doesn't change the fact that I just adored this book so incredibly deeply. Can you hear my cat snoring on the floor? Can you hear that? I really hope you can, because it's very cute. Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. Now listen, I've read a lot of straight romances, a lot of straight BookTok romances for these videos. Icebreaker, I genuinely didn't hate. I thought the male main character, is his name Nate? I can't remember. The male main character, the male romantic lead in this, I didn't think he was abusive. I didn't think he was that toxic. I thought the book could have finished like way earlier than it did. I think it was about 100, 150 pages too long. But the characters, the writing, I didn't think it was that problematic. And for that, Icebreaker is going in, it reads like Wattpad. It's just a silly, cute, stupid romance. And sometimes that's what you need, just a silly, cute, stupid romance. They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera. I literally read this book about 10 years ago, and then it just boomed on TikTok and everyone was talking about it. I'm going to put this one in reads like Wattpad. I remember reading it at the time and I didn't love it. It wasn't like one of my favourite books ever. Also, didn't hate it. I thought it was cute for what it is. A little gay romance. It was adorable. It wasn't life-changing. Honey Girl by Morgan Rogers. Now, I would not have pegged this for being a BookTok book, but this weirdly featured in like 5 different BookTok book lists, like listicles I found on the internet. And if it featured so much, who am I to argue? Because I really loved this book. It's definitely going into toxic, but I liked it. This features a woman called Grace. She has just finished her PhD in like astrophysics or something super smart like that. And she should be like so happy. She's just kind of reached the pinnacle of her life. Like this is what she's been working towards her entire life. And she's done it, and she has just immediately been like, what now? Like, what's the point? And so she goes to Vegas with a couple of friends and gets so drunk and accidentally ends up marrying a stranger who lives on the other side of the country, a woman called Yuki. Yes, this is a sapphic romance. And then Grace basically goes on a journey to discover herself, to discover Yuki, to figure out if their relationship can actually work. Like, can they make this marriage work? This weird, strange arrangement that they've got. It's really good. I really like it. I do recommend you read it. Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. So you know what? I read this book very recently. I did not think I would like it because I am not a fantasy girly. I actually did really like it. And this is the epitome of reads like Wattpad. Is the writing good? No. Is the world building good? No. Did I like the dragons? Yes. Was I captivated? Yes. After like the first 180 pages. The first 180 pages, didn't really care. Once the dragons came to the story, I was in, I was sold, and I am not a dragon girly. I liked it, it filled a hole. I'm still debating whether or not I want to read the second one, which I think is Iron Flame. If I'm correct, I might read it. I might borrow the book off my sister because I don't care enough to buy it. But it is the epitome of reads like Wattpad. Next up, we have Daisy Jones and the Six, again by Taylor Jenkins Reid. And she is joining her sister, Evelyn Hugo, in main character energy. I love Daisy Jones and the Six. I love it so incredibly much. The writing is genius. The way that Taylor Jenkins Reid builds up the world around Daisy Jones. I have spoken to people in real life who thought that Daisy Jones and the Six were a real band. They are not a real band. They were kind of loosely based on Fleetwood Mac. But this isn't real, and it feels real, and if you haven't read it, you need to read the book, and then you need to listen to the audiobooks. The audiobook is chef's kiss amazing because the book is written in interview format. And then once you've read the book and listened to the audiobook, you need to watch the Amazon Prime TV show because all three of them, amazing, incredible. A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. This is going into toxic, but I liked it. This is the perfect YA mystery book if you are young or if you're just trying to sort of get into the psychological thriller mystery genre. This is a really good place to start because it's such an easy read, but it does really keep you captured. It really keeps your attention. It's the story of a teenage girl called Pip, I think she's called, and she has got to do a school project, and she decides to focus her school project on a very famous murder that happened in their area. And this murder was solved when it first happened, but Pip has reasons to believe that maybe the person who was accused of doing it might not have been guilty after all. And she follows that thread through and she writes a school project on it, and it's really, really good, really captivating. Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings. I read this as part of me and my sister swap books video, which I really enjoyed doing. I think we're going to do it again soon. And I did not want to enjoy this book. I really did not want to like it. I did. Like, again, I didn't enjoy the writing. I didn't necessarily enjoy the story, but it was so captivating. I just had to get to the end to find out what happened, like what was going on, who did BJ cheat with. I just had to know. And it's going in, it reads like Wattpad. My sister will be watching this and she'll be very happy that I put it so high. Again, I finished it. I didn't necessarily want to read the rest of the books in the series, but my sister does tell me that Daisy Hates, which is the second one, is much better. And she'll probably give that to me in my next sister swap video, so we'll see. Happy Place by Emily Henry. This book is so incredibly boring. Oh my god, it took everything in me to finish this book. It was painful. And again, it wasn't necessarily a terrible book. I just really do not mesh with Emily Henry's writing. I did not care about the characters. I didn't care what happened to them. I just did not want to finish this book, so this is going in only finished because I hate quitting. That is the epitome of I only finished because I hate quitting, because, oh, it was so dull. It literally took me like 8 weeks to read. The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. No shock to anyone. Main character energy. I adored that book. I loved it so much. I can barely even think about that book without tearing up. That is the impact that it had on me. Loved it. Madeline Miller's writing is so deeply descriptive. She builds up the world and the characters so vividly. You feel like you were there. And Patroclus and Achilles weren't even real people, but I feel like they were in my soul. The Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J Maas. This is the most recent book in this list that I've read, and this is going in red flag in book form. I'm sorry, fantasy girlies. I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't want to get it. I thought this was so deeply concerning on so many levels. It was bad writing, just terrible writing. A terrible main character. Feyre is just not well written, but also constantly contradicting herself. She's meant to be this 19-year-old woman. She reads like a 14-year-old. She makes such questionable choices. You're supposed to believe that she, on her own, sort of fended for her family for 5 years, that she fed and looked after her family on her own for 5 whole years. But then she enters this fairy world and just like ceases to be able to function as a human being. She is so incredibly dim. She makes so many terrible choices that I just found it really hard to find this book believable in any way whatsoever. Sorry, hated it. Don't even get me started on Tamlin and Rhysand. Terrible men, terrible characters. I don't know if you're supposed to be rooting for her romance with either of them, but they are just both abusive. Literally red flags in book form. None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell. This is such a good thriller. This features 2 women who are both very problematic in their own ways. One of them is a influencer podcast host, and the other sort of like comes into her life and decides that she wants to tell her story to the public, and her story is wild, and it's whether or not you believe that the story she is telling is the truth. I was hooked. And in terms of writing, is the writing in this on par with Song of Achilles or Daisy Jones or Evelyn Hugo? Probably not. Did I love this book? Yes, I did. It is going in main character energy. Adored it. The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. I went into this book presuming that I was going to hate it. I just really thought I would hate this book. I didn't. I liked the main characters. I thought Neither of them were necessarily massively problematic. I thought they had their issues, but they were very believable issues. I cared about their story and about their romance. I wanted to find out what happened. I was rooting for them. Toxic, but I liked it. It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey. Again, this is another book that I did not expect to enjoy, but I kind of did. It was just cute, soppy romance. There's a lot of masculinity in this book. Like the man, again, I cannot remember what characters are called, like ever, but the man, the main romantic character in this, he is constantly described as like manly and masculine, and that's kind of his only personality trait, and that really bothered me. But again, I thought it was quite cute. I didn't hate it. It felt like Schitt's Creek. It was like Alexis in Schitt's Creek, and I love Schitt's Creek, so maybe I'm biased, but it literally does read like Wattpad. Verity by Colleen Hoover. I probably should have done this one earlier when I went through all the other Colleen Hoover books in this video. But this is controversially, but not controversially because people do love this book, going in toxic, but I liked it. I fully believe if Colleen Hoover wrote thrillers, she would do so well, because like I said earlier about November 9, I was expecting for like the other shoe to drop and the twist to be that the man was abusive. And like Colleen Hoover would be so good at writing books like that, because she is so good at writing abusive men and just like bad characters generally. When she leans into the thriller thing, she does it so well. I really liked Verity. I was hooked. The ending had me gooped and gagged. She should write thrillers. Most of her books read as thrillers anyway, honestly. Felix Ever After by Case and Calendar. I love this book. I thought it was so cute. It's going in toxic, but I liked it, even though it's not really toxic. It's just freaking adorable. Felix is a teenager, I think, young adult. He is a trans man, and he has never been in love, and he is desperate to be in love, and it's his journey to self-discovery, to finding somebody else to love, to finding somebody to love him, and I just thought it was freaking adorable. Circe by Madeline Miller. What I'm about to say is probably really controversial, and if I get stick for this, I probably deserved it. I didn't like Circe at all. I only finished it because I hate quitting books. I loved, obviously, Song of Achilles so much. Song of Achilles is in my top tier. I thought I was going to love Circe. I just found it so boring. I think my problem with it is the premise of Circe is that she has been banished to an island to live in solitude for thousands of years. And so it's just Circe on this island and nothing really happens. And even when things do happen, I just didn't like it. I just didn't like this book. I'm sorry. Casey McQuiston's Red, White and Royal Blue. I love this book. I loved it. This is one of these books I'm like, I wish my brain came up with that idea first, because it's genius. The Prince of England and the son of the President of the United States, both gay, fall in love, but it's like enemies to lovers. It's delicious. It's so good. I adored this book. I hated the film. I did not like what they did with the film. The book is so good. It's so good. Flawless by Elsie Silver. We have a cowboy, like a rodeo bull rider, who is kind of famous in that world, and he has messed up his image, and so the daughter of his PR manager has to come and live with him to make sure that he behaves himself, because men have no accountability for their own actions. You have to have a young woman come in and make sure that he behaves himself. Like, his behaviour becomes her responsibility. And of course they fall in love. Only finished hate quitting. No interest. Didn't like it. I thought the entire premise was deeply, to its core, problematic, and also just on a base level. Hated all the characters. Hated them all. And finally we have We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. This isn't the best writing in the world, but I kind of enjoyed it. It's going to go into reads like Wattpad. It's a girl who had an accident and lost all of her memories of a specific summer, and clearly something happened that summer, but she doesn't know what it is that's happened, so she has tried to like piece together her memories to figure out what went wrong on this like island that is owned by her grandparents, and it was just like her and all of her cousins, and something bad happened, and she's trying to piece it together. The writing is very like bitty, but it kind of reflects the state that her mind is in. I thought it was good. It wasn't the best thing ever. I see why people like it so much, especially if they're like just getting into reading. It's a very good, very easy book, very gripping. And with that, that's all my books officially tier ranked. I'm not going to lie to you, I thought I would have more in the bottom half of this tier ranking. But clearly I don't. I like a lot of BookTok books, more than I thought I did. If you have any thoughts, any feelings about my rankings, then please make sure you let me know in the comments down below, even if it's not very nice, because, you know, all engagement is good engagement. YouTube doesn't know what's a hate comment. They just think people are engaging. So talk to me. Let me know what you think in the comments. And let me know if there are any other BookTok books that you think I should be reading. Or maybe a book that I've read that maybe I missed off this list, because I'm sure there are some of them. But yeah, thanks for watching. I know this video is silly, it's stupid, but we're here to have fun. But anyway, if you've made it to this point in the video and you are not subscribed, then I ask you, why? Why not? Subscribe. If you enjoy hanging out with me, we can hang out all the time if you just click the subscribe button down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.